Make a hot cuppa and relax. It's Afternoon Karak with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah.
On Pulse 95.
Happy New Year. It's the 1st of January.
Oh my God.
It's the 1st of January. 2021.
No more 36
No.
December.
No, I made it.
Congratulations.
I made it to January. And I'd like
That is an achievement.
I know.
And this week, come on, like we don't have to go.
I swear to God, I would like to.
What changed your mind? What made you wake up and like this?
I went to the gym.
Okay.
And I was like, I made an accomplishment. New year, new me.
Okay.
So
all
it
right.
felt nice. And and also I had lunch, so that kind of helped as well. I haven't been having lunch for the past 2 days.
So you've just refreshed yourself.
Exactly. I went to the gym, then I had lunch, took a shower, put on some makeup. I wore my favorite blush today. So I'm like, you know what? It's the 1st of January, 2021.
Welcome.
It
Aisha,
feels
welcome
nice.
to the new year.
It feels nice to celebrate the new year with all of you guys. I get the hype right now. And yeah, so happy to be here.
Happy to have you and everyone tuning in to the Afternoon Karak. It's Tuesday. We're at the steep of the week as we slow down to the weekend.
Yes.
But we got to keep you guys updated. We have all sorts of interesting stories happening. Even really, for me, like a rumor that I didn't think was ever even going to be happening. And it has to do with Netflix possibly adapting yet another video game series.
Really? Were you surprised? I wasn't surprised because I feel like that's their new thing after The Witcher.
Not something this big. This is a really...
The Witcher is pretty big, so I can see them going that direction. We do have a celebration. I believe we celebrated this, but honestly, I feel like it warrants another celebration. It's an important date today. It is a day that we're celebrating a certain type of animal, a whole category. Some of you might be fans of them. Some of them, you might not be big fans of them. We can talk about them later on in the hour. And we're also going to be talking about the 2021 movie release date. We talked about TV shows. We spoke about the video games of 2021. Now we move to the movies. Tell us, what are your most anticipated movies of 2021? We also have some Quibi news. If you guys remember from a couple of weeks ago, we said that Quibi has lost. They did not win the streaming services race, but there might be a slight chance they might be surviving in another way. Stay tuned for that and much more right here on the Afternoon Karak.
What's the date?
What's the date?
What's the date?
What are we celebrating today?
We are celebrating a ni'mah to this world. The beauty of the skies, a whole category of
You
species.
can't really say the skies because not all of them
Sky
fly.
and land, and a little bit of a hybrid ocean. Let's say hybrid sea.
Yes, some of them are not under the sea, but they do enjoy the sea. And if you guys did not catch the hint when he said flying, we're going to be talking about birds because it is Birds Day. So happy birthday to happy Birds Day.
We're making that very clear.
Very, very clear to everybody across
But
the
if it
entire
is your
world.
birthday today,
Happy birthday! Happy birthday! You're sharing your birthday with the Birds Day, which is really cool. I think I stick to what I said, I believe, a while back, that my favorite bird ever is a cassowary.
I have never heard of that.
I had to Google it just to make sure that I'm saying the name correctly because it is just a majestic bird. I came across it while watching National Geographic Wild, as usual.
Birds of Paradise and all that?
Birds of Paradise is a bird, is a plant.
No, Birds of Paradise is like a documentary that talks about these exotic birds.
Yeah. Kind of. It was talking about this bird that honestly looks like it's incredibly ancient, and it is one of the oldest living species of birds, and it's just completely majestic and insane. It looks very beautiful. It's quite big, like around this size, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And it looks pretty prehistoric if you look at it. It's very colorful as well.
Got a lot of legacy.
It does. And if you look at it, I feel like, it feels like a regal bird. The funny thing about it, or interesting thing about it, is that usually when you think of birds, I think of them in pairs because when they pair up, more often than not, they pair up for life, or at least for a long time, and they take care of their little hatchlings together. But the cassowary, what it does is that the female finds a male, it all falls onto the male. It has to kind of impress her. And if she's okay with it, she's like, you pass. You're okay.
You're feasible.
You're feasible.
worthy.
You're worthy of me. She mates with him. They have an egg. They have a couple eggs. And just goes like goodbye and she just never comes back again.
Something similar to the spider relationships.
Kind of. I mean, no, spider is
She
like...
eats him.
She
after.
eats him. But here, she just kind of goes like goodbye and she just leaves.
She's her
And
own
then-
alpha.
Exactly. She just does her job and leaves and goes away. And it falls onto the male to not only hatch the eggs, but also take care of them.
Oh, wow.
And they actually like
Child
fall-
support, come on.
Exactly.
Wow.
So it was such an interesting documentary, and I watched it maybe 2 or 3 times. Every time it's on TV, I sit and watch it.
Cassowary.
Cassowary.
All right,
Look
mashallah.
it up. It's a gorgeous bird.
One of the many majestic birds out there in the world. I want to just give thanks to the chicken
The chicken.
and
of
the
course.
turkey.
Of course.
They've given me such just delicious meals over just throughout my life, and
Absolutely, I get it.
and just when I think I've had enough of chicken, I always eat a different variation of it. Like it's just
Fried chicken.
I can't live without
Roast
chicken, honestly. Beef is okay, but chicken is like on its own
I
tier.
get it. Honestly, I get it. It is.
Love you, chickens.
Shout out to the chickens. But have you seen the silky chicken?
Silky, what's that?
It's a chicken with so much feathers. It's so, again, back with the majestic birds.
So like these are like prime meat.
They are, but usually they keep them because they're very pretty birds. I mean, if I see a silky chicken, I don't want to eat it, to be honest, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, you're gorgeous. Why would I want to eat?
If I'm hungry that day.
I don't think
I'll
it has
keep-
a lot of meat either. I mean, some
you're right.
cultures do eat it.
Mm-hmm.
I believe a lot of Asian countries, Eastern Asian countries, they raise them for their eggs and they also raise them to eat them. But honestly, from my point of view, if I see a silky chicken, I would not eat it. It just looks so pretty. I'm not saying normal chickens are not pretty. I'm sorry to all the chickens, but it's just a bit exotic version of a normal chicken.
I'll have to look this up. Silky chicken.
And the cassowary.
Okay, happy birthday, and tune in later this hour as we give you guys some suggestions if you're looking out to see some birds out here in Sharjah.
Celebrate birds. We do have some suggestion for you. Stay tuned for that and much more right here on the Afternoon Karak as we move on to the most anticipated movies of 2021. Tell us, what do you look forward to? Text us 4215 Itisalat or do.
Pulse 95.
Now, we can't really say that 2020 was the best year for movies, but at least we
There was
do.
nothing.
Well, there were some things on.
I wanted to reason go to theaters, but there was nothing.
Well, obviously, theaters were mostly closed for at least 4 months here in the UAE.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, the entirety of the world aside, we're talking about locally. I mean, yes, alhamdulillah, we're doing much better than some other countries, and we do have most of our facilities, entertainment facilities open. But a lot of people were not very comfortable about going to see or watch movies in theaters, and also the fact that a lot of production companies in Hollywood were not very keen on releasing their movies during a time when a lot of people are not going to watch it. But there's plenty of movies to watch in 2021 that have been pushed aside from 2020 to 2021. For me, one of the most anticipated movie for myself is Dune.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, we're supposed to get a chance to watch it in December, but it's been pushed all the way until October of this year. A couple of other delayed films, such as Fast and Furious 9. There was also No Time to Die. Hurts my heart every time. This movie got delayed twice.
It's okay.
And if it gets delayed again, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna boycott MGM. I'm gonna call
Boycott MGM.
I'm gonna stalk Daniel Craig. I'm like, yo, just give me a Blu-ray copy if you have one. Just hook me up. But
I
don't
look
know what I'm
forward
gonna
to
do.
also Minari in February 12th. We spoke about it not too long ago, about the whole Golden Globes shenanigans and how they are not putting that movie in the correct category that it was nominated for initially by its creators, and that is obviously Best Drama, or Best Film. They're actually putting it in Best Foreign Film simply because it doesn't have a lot of English dialogue. I'm also looking forward to Raya and The Last Dragon. Now, this one, thank God, thankfully, hasn't been delayed that much. It was already, supposed to come out around this time in 2021. It is a Disney feature, again, Disney animation, going to be coming out on Disney Plus, which means that even though we do not have Disney Plus, we do have OSN streaming, And we also have, of course, you know what we have?
Theatrical releases and alternative lens.
So if you guys are still not keen about watching movies in theaters, we have that. Also, Morbius. Morbius is coming out also in March. March seems to be a good month for TV shows and movies.
I know you're excited with the fact that Kingsman is coming out in March as well. Finally, and the fact that we even heard about that they're making like a couple of Kingsman movies and that there's going to be a Statesman TV show. It's going to be crazy for that franchise.
And as for the MCU, the movies kick off in May with Black Widow.
Finally.
Yes, we're getting WandaVision very soon, within a week or so. And it's going to be 9 episodes. It's been officially released. That's going to be 9 episodes. And then right after that, we have obviously The Falcon and Winter Soldier and Widow. So I'm very, very happy about that, obviously, as a big MCU fan.
There's also Godzilla vs. Kong coming out in May. And there's also Cruella,
yes.
Cruella, the Dalmatian live action. Luca.
Do you remember we spoke about it not too long ago as well? We spoke about it, again, it's part of Disney's Pixar animation. Super cool. A story about 2 little kids in the Italian Riviera. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm very excited about a lot of Disney's releases and as well as Warner Brothers releases. Those are my top 2 contenders for the year 2021 when it comes to movies.
Tons of films from Marvel and beyond. Uncharted is one that I'm really just excited for as a fan of the franchise. Space Jam, the sequel to the nostalgic cult classic, as well as Jungle Cruise, which got also delayed from last June. The Suicide Squad reboot coming out in August. There's just tons. It keeps going.
Candyman. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That was also delayed. It is not by Jordan Peele, but rather he's producing it. And the director is also a newbie when it comes to horror movies. But if you guys remember the trailer, it was quite fantastic. Death on the Nile also delayed from 2020, and so many more movies. So many. I hope that 2021 becomes the year for movies, especially since, again, we missed out on a lot of them all the way back in 2020. Now let's go talk about another movie we did not see coming. Apparently, a Rubiks Cube movie is in development. How on earth are they going to make a movie out of Rubiks Cubes? We don't know. Let's talk about that. Coming up next on the Afternoon Karak.
This is Pulse 95.
Not too long ago, we had a movie about Battleship, the game.
Oh my God.
Do you remember that?
I do remember. That was, I think, a Michael Bay film. And
I think so. It had a lot of
Rihanna even starred in it.
It had a lot of explosions, and that's all I remember from it. I just remember also the ship kind of sinking. I don't know. I didn't watch the movie. I just felt like it was an unnecessary movie. One of the few movies, or maybe the only, actually no, one or two board game or, game to movie adaptation are obviously Cluedo and
Dungeons
Jumanji.
and Dragons as well.
We're still waiting for that.
There was a movie that came out back in early 2000s.
Really?
It's terrible.
I mean, that doesn't make it a successful one. I'm talking about successful ones.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Successful ones, Jumanji and Cluedo. That is it. When it comes to other versions, it's just been kind of weird. So this begs the question, how are they going to make a movie about the Rubiks Cube?
Well, apparently, according to the Wrap, there is a movie based on the Rubiks Cube. It's being produced by Hyde Park Entertainment Group, and it's intended to be about the Rubiks Cube's rise to prominence in the 80s and how it continued to be relevant. So I don't know if it'll be a documentary or is it gonna...
Sort of like a biopic for a cube.
Something like that. I mean...
Which I appreciate that. Okay, I'm okay with that one.
I don't mind. I think because there is something to be, told from a hobby that is this dedicated and something that has still lived on to this day with what they call the speed cubing. I think you've seen it where they would have their eyes blindfolded and they have a timer and they got to finish the Rubik's Cube in a couple of seconds and stuff like that.
I remember, I've seen it.
So it's a hobby that has been able to live on for so long, and maybe there is a story to be told and something that's interesting about it. What's also interesting is that they're not only producing a movie, they're also going to be producing a game show, and it's also being developed by the same entertainment production.
I like that.
Yeah, so the game show might be really like something
Within my area, is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that you love the silliest of game shows out
I
there.
do.
So
I love all
why
game
not
shows.
Rubik's Cube?
Not that I know how to play or decipher.
You admire the competition.
I admire the competition.
The dexterity.
The dexterity,
and all
just
that.
watching people from afar. But I'm okay if it's about the history of the Rubik's Cube, a biopic of the Rubik's Cube. I'm down for that.
I mean, if we got a movie, if we got an emoji movie, why can't we get a movie about Rubik's Cube?
Oh yeah, definitely. If it would have been like a movie about how emojis came to be, I would have been down for that. But this is just very bad. Now let's move on to another movie adaptation. Now this is another, not a game, but rather a video game adaptation on Netflix. It's a rumor, but it might be true. Stay tuned for that right after these sports headlines.
Speculation, gossip, or hoax. Rumor has it.
Netflix isn't really short of video game adaptations. Some of their most prominent hits is Castlevania, Dragon's Dogma, and the one that everyone knows, The Witcher. And I'm really glad that we're getting a second season, and hopefully even the showrunner says that we're probably going to get a couple more seasons more.
Hopefully.
But now, rumor has it that Netflix is looking into probably adapting the fan favorite franchise, The Elder Scrolls, into a television series.
I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening because, like I said, Netflix has jumped into the whole video game adaptation, and I believe that video games and books are best adapted into TV shows and not movies.
Really flush out the world and the lore.
Exactly.
Same way like Amazon is bidding on Lord of the Rings with a television series.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't say that this is too far-fetched. This is something that I could definitely see happening. And I think that Netflix can nail it if it's not an animation.
True. And I have another question. Where in the world of Tamriel, in the world of Elder Scrolls, are they even going to be setting the story? Is it in Cyrodiil? Is it in the world of Skyrim, Morrowind? Is it going to be based on the video games, or is it going to have its own entire storyline that kind of has like little fan service, relation to the games? I'm not sure, but the potential is so vast because this is a huge world. And tons and tons of hardcore fans would be really into this. And I like the fact that there is this interest from entertainment productions out there, just the industry, Hollywood and Netflix and all that, that they are really seeing the potential for creating video game adaptations because they know there's a lot of gamers out there who are obsessed with certain franchises, and it's like, why not create adaptations? Exactly. And in a way, you lure all these gamers. Like you are providing
gamers
entertainment.
And non-gamers as well. I mean, look at The Witcher. Not everybody is sitting around playing The Witcher or will be playing The Witcher, even though the TV show actually boosted The Witcher 3's sales by crazy. I remember the news all over the internet. So that's possible that it could easily do that for Skyrim, especially since, for example, Skyrim is now available on all consoles. So even if you have a Nintendo Switch and you're like, let me just try out the game, you can easily do that. So it's very accessible. You can try it out. And I do not see it as something that is, unfeasible. This can easily happen. Now moving on to another video game news, we're going to be talking about Breath of the Wild and the fact that people found out that some of the characters, some of the NPCs are actually just very elaborate versions of Mies. Now you're asking, what are Mies? Let's talk about that. I'll give you the entirety, all the explanation about what are Mies, what are NPCs, and all of that right here on the Afternoon Karak.
Pulse 95.
So apparently there were some speculations a couple of years ago. Somebody looked at the NPCs, the non-playable characters in Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and they said, this looks like a Mii. Now, a Mii, M-I-I, were introduced back on the Nintendo Wii, W-I-I, because,
This is like 2006 we're talking about.
A long time ago. Basically, even, I believe, the Xbox, around that time, they released something similar. But everybody knows the Miis. Now, the Miis are simply characters you create, like you customize them, and they have like a very specific sort of character. And back on the Wii, there were some games that also incorporated some, specific Miis in them as well.
Wii Sports, Wii Resorts.
Exactly.
Using
even
a personified avatar of yourself.
And even Tomodachi Life as well, that came out on the Nintendo DS, 3DS. You can kind of create your own Miis, and also some Miis themselves are well-known Miis from the games themselves. One of them happens to be, I believe his name is Matt. Matt is well known from Wii Sports. No matter what you do, he's gonna beat you up, basically. He always wins somehow when you play tennis. And then they realize, wait a second, they are Miis. They are actually Miis. If they put them side to side, they look like just very elaborately created Miis. And it's very funny because somebody was like, haha, they look like Miis a couple of years ago, and it turns out to be true.
I like the thorough investigation of just some people on the internet, as you have to sort of squint your eyes and just sort of okay. Someone in the animation department kind of, took some shortcuts, as you can say.
It's some shortcut. It's like taking some inspiration. Like, for example, looking at a person and going like, I can create something that kind of looks like them, and then just having your own touch on it. Because it's not instant that you look at those NPCs and think, yeah, they look like Matt from Wii Sports. It doesn't really happen like that.
No, don't worry. It's only for the basic NPCs, the major characters who play a big role in the story. Obviously, they have their own unique designs that I know the devs have worked long grueling hours on. But it's a nice little, like a trivia that I know Nintendo will never comment on or confirm.
Oh no, maybe in a couple of years, maybe in 10, 20 years.
Just fans are like, Nintendo, we know.
Yes, and it's a funny thing is, it was a Twitter user, her name was Alice. She's the one who discovered this, because she also found that you can actually map Miis into the game. And she's like, hey, who wants to do that? I can help you do it.
Oh, wow.
And it's just super cool. I don't know if I want to try it out. I saw her tweet a couple of days ago and I was like, is she kidding me? Is this real? Apparently, it is real. I mean, kudos to the developers for being able to sneak it
Now make
through.
it a customizable feature on the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, hopefully.
That would be really cool, but I don't think that's doable, because the game is probably going to be incredibly big. I don't think they have the capacity to add something like customizing your own character.
Leave it to the modders then.
Leave it to the modders, as usual. They're the ones who keep the gaming community. They're the one they lift everybody up. Coming up next, let's talk about another way of lifting a streaming service that did not do too well, despite the fact that it debuted and kind of died within less than 6 months. That is Quibi. Now, it might be saved by none other than Roku. Stay tuned for that and much more right here on the Afternoon Karak.
You're listening to Pulse 95.
A certain demise for a streaming service last year, the Quibi, short for Quick Bites, was supposed to be the exclusive mobile streaming service with 10-minute episodes and little bites of films, exclusive content. It was supposed to rival the big streaming services such as Netflix, Amazon, HBO. But in only a year's time and over $1 billion worth of investments,
Less than a year.
it's unfortunately has completely shut down, and now it's selling its direct to stream materials, its rights, to the highest bidder. And it seems that Roku is an American hardware streaming service where you buy a device and you get to have access to all sorts of streaming content. It seems like they're going to be buying out a lot of the content from Quibi itself.
It's better than nothing.
It is, yeah. It's kind of ironic also, because Quibi was so adamant about being only mobile exclusive that now they're selling to the highest bidder, to a big streaming TV company such as Roku.
Again, I mean, it's very difficult to survive right now in a place that is very congested with a lot of streaming services, and all the new streaming services are still only streaming in the United States. Imagine when they go global the way Netflix did, because Netflix was also kind of very small when it was only available in the United States, and then suddenly when they announced we're available everywhere in every territory in the entire world, bit by bit, and now look at it, it's the biggest, most watched streaming service across the entire world. It pumps out content after content, all kinds of languages. It's buying stuff here and there. So it was very successful. Now we have Amazon Prime as a contender because if you talk about Disney Plus, HBO Max, and even Peacock, they're still kind of new. They haven't really made their way into the world international market. So already Quibi had it very
a little
difficult.
bit too late into a saturated market such as streaming.
Kind of, but then they kind of did not also have a good amount of content that kind of grabbed people's attention. It grabbed my attention, but I'm only like one person out of billions. And also it's the fact that they were not really marketing themselves very well. And always talk about
and the whole
that, you
exclusivity of mobile, just streaming on mobile. For me, this you just shot yourself in the leg by doing that,
To be honest, I found that the fact that they're only streaming on mobile was fine because again, it's very, very short. I've watched some of the stuff on there. It's the kind of thing you watch when you're trying to fall asleep. You go, okay, I'm going to watch something very quickly instead of dedicating yourself to a YouTube video or dedicating yourself to an entire episode on Netflix. You just watch this very quickly. So it was adequate for what it was promising. But I understand that if they did have like a website or some sort of application on the computer or on laptops or even an extension for Chrome, for example, or Safari, it would have still lasted a lot longer than this. I agree with you somewhat.
Yeah.
People could just play it in the background the way they do Netflix sometimes. I mean, a lot of people who rewatch The Office or Friends or those kind of shows that they've already watched and they just want to rewatch again, just play it in the background and do other stuff. They usually play it on their laptops or play it on their tablet or on TV. So they did kind of miss an opportunity, but then they might have been thinking as sort of an expansion for later.
Well, if anything, I am happy that Quibi's content still will be used in some sort of way. If viewers missed out on the streaming platform, then they can just go to Ruko and check it out there.
Absolutely.
Streaming War saga still continues, and the day when Disney Plus becomes global.
Oh yeah, I mean, yes, for now we do. It's only on OSN, but maybe one day we might just have Disney Plus here in the UAE and across the MENA region. Coming up next, we are still celebrating Birds Day. I have a suggestion for you if you want to celebrate it along with us, so stay tuned for that and much more right here on the Afternoon Karak.
It's almost 5 p.m.
That was Afternoon Karak. For dessert,
Aisha and Mikhail suggest...
If you're an avid viewer or even listener and really enjoy what we do here on the Afternoon Karak, do support us by following our YouTube channel, Pulse 95 Radio, as well as all of our podcasts. It's going to be uploaded daily on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Just write up Afternoon Karak and you're good to go. And we're going to wrap up the hour with a final suggestion, and this time it comes from Aisha Almazmi herself.
Well, we are celebrating Birds Day right here on the Afternoon Karak, and I feel like to just extend that to make sure that you guys can also have a lovely experience with some birds today or even tomorrow because it's 6 p.m., going to be 6 p.m. very soon, so you might not be able to catch some birds before it's nightfall. So my suggestion is for you guys to check out Waslet Reserve. That is very close right here in Sharjah. That is a place where around 350 migratory birds
MashaAllah.
live. So you can see the beautiful wetlands of Sharjah.
And the weather
The weather is gorgeous.
amazing.
It is perfect for this kind of thing. And also, you can also check out the Arabian Wildlife Center, which is a closed area. So even if it's not cold or if it feels too windy outside, too sunny, don't worry, go inside the Arabian Wildlife Center. And even there are a lot of birds to check out. It is one of my favorite places to go to, even though it's not. I've been there 20,000 times. But every time I go to the area where the birds are, I get so happy. It just makes me excited. It's my comfort place. So guys, check out Waslet Wetland Reserves. It's right here in Sharjah. Also the Arabian Wildlife Center. So you can check out some birds and celebrate Birds Day.
Bird appreciation.
Bird appreciation.
No rush. I mean, if you can't do it today, you have the whole month. You know?
Oh yeah, you have the whole month. I mean, just make sure you check out the timings because Waslet Reserves it closes quite early, but it's open. It's quite early as well. So if you want to go out very early tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon, right after lunch, you have the opportunity to do so.
And that is it, guys, for the afternoon Karak. I hope you enjoyed the hour. And if you always love to tune in to our discussions, our little banters, our debates, you can tune in tomorrow because it just continues from 4 to 5 right here on Pulse 95.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.